and it's on a mobile because we are cruising somewhere, and I figured I haven't connected with you guys in a while, so we figured we'd do a little live stream today. But unfortunately, I wanted to be in studio, but I could not be in studio, so today I got to do it a little live, on the go, on the run. Kind of give you guys an update on everything that's going on. Obviously, it's been an interesting week, and it's just one of those deals, man, where you got to adjust with life, and you got to roll with it, unfortunately, and things happen, and you got to find a way to overcome. That's all, and that's just kind of the way it is in life, man. Sometimes things don't go your way. It's a shame because we were making a lot of progress with on-site radio, and, well, wait a minute, let me see. Okay, there we go. We're making a lot of progress with on-site radio. It looks like my deal fell here. Let me make sure I can put this thing up the right way so I can actually drive and talk at the same time. I'm not going to be able to hold a phone and do this all at the same time. There we go. All right, there we go. Anyway, so unfortunately, crap happens in life, and you got to just kind of find a way to get it done and overcome. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to figure out the options that we have, and hopefully we'll be able to maneuver through all of the options. So that's kind of the update on it all. If we can continue it, if I can find the right partner, I'm actually meeting with somebody this evening. We're meeting with a couple of other people next week. So hopefully we will find out if we can continue with Onside. Probably won't be called Onside Radio. I already have something else in plan, and we'll try to keep that going, hopefully. Okay? Now, again, it all depends on the partners. If we get the right partners, then we can move forward. If we don't have the right partners, then we can't move forward, unfortunately. So that's kind of the update with on-site radio. Everything else, I mean, right now it's kind of slow in sports. Marlins, unfortunately, are struggling because of the injuries and everything else that's going on. Heat, obviously, I know Riley got fined $25,000 doing that thing on Levitard, and he misunderstood the question and went from it was a Wade question to a LeBron question, and so obviously that became a problem. 25,000 won't be $25,000 is something the Heat organization and Riley can overcome. And so, by the way, I hope it's not. Is this shaking as much as it looks? Is it bad? Like when you're watching, is it shaking? Because obviously I'm on an SUV, so I'm not in my car would have been a little smoother, but I have to go in the SUV because I got to pick up some stuff. So big objects that don't fit in my car normally. Anyway, so it's kind of slow in sports right now. I know mini camps and all that, but there isn't much to see in a mini camp outside of maybe hoping that Tua looks good. And although I tell you this, I tweeted this out yesterday that I don't think I've had more anticipation for a Dolphins season in a long time than this one. Okay, just got this thing to try to hold it up for it, and it's not doing a good job. I may have to return it already. Just bought it. I bought it specifically for this because I normally don't use these things. I normally am holding my phone and talking, but this time I can't do it while I'm driving. I have to pay attention to what the hell's going on in front of me in the road. But anyway, I was tweeting out that this Dolphin season for me is one that I think since Ricky Williams. And what I tweeted out was with Ricky, I was excited about the season because of Ricky. Not that I thought they were Super Bowl contenders or anything like that at any point with Ricky, but I was excited for Dolphin football because Ricky would add an element that we hadn't seen in a while. And now I think with Chris Greer and Brian Flores and now Tua, I think they're adding an element that we haven't seen in a long time either. A franchise that can actually challenge for a championship down the line, a franchise that's being built the right way. A young quarterback that, outside of the injury history, I don't have any concerns with whatsoever. And now that they have, again, a great front office has addressed what they need in that front office, to me, that becomes an absolute no-brainer on what's going on with the Dolphins. That's why I tell you that for me, I am extremely, as we say in the crypto market, bullish, right? Which, by the way, I hope you're taking advantage of these dips. Any of you that ever wanted to think, even imagine about going into crypto, and you have not taken advantage of what's gone on the last couple of weeks, you are out of your mind, okay? Because when everything bounces back, it is going to be a beautiful thing, and it will bounce back, obviously. We'll get through all the FUD and all that other stuff. But anyway, back to football. I am looking forward to this season in a big-time way. And, mini camps don't get me that excited or anything like that. There's not much to see in a mini camp. The only thing you want to see in a mini camp is if somebody's coming off injury, how do they look? How do they run around? Are they more comfortable? Do they look like they're healthy? Are they closer to being healthy? Those kind of things. And I think we've seen a lot already on film. People taking videos and Tua putting out videos of him working out. And to me, that's what I'm excited about. That the kid was able to work on football this offseason and throw to his receivers, and it's his offense, and it's designed for him. And so I just everything is stacked now to help Tua, whereas last year everything was stacked against Tua. You know what I mean? And so that's what's kind of changed throughout all of this. And to me, that's what I'm excited about a lot for this Dolphin season. As I've told you guys, I'm extremely, maybe confident is the word, that they're going to have a damn good season this year. They'll win about 11 games. They'll get into the playoffs. And I'm excited because I think the following season they've got a chance at being a Super Bowl contender. That's how good I feel about this team, about this front office, about this coach. That's kind of where I'm at with this Dolphin season. And it's, right now I know we're kind of in a lull sports-wise because unfortunately, our Panthers went out in the first round, our Heat went out in the first round, and the Marlins don't have that much of a buzz, in town yet because of that trust factor. There's a lot of you out there that aren't even paying attention to the Marlins because of the trust factor, and that's, that's to be expected, and that's cool. That's normal, I think. When people have been hurt constantly, it's normal for them to feel a little distant from the situation because they're kind of tired of being hurt. And I'm with you guys on that. I understood. I chose not to get close to the Fernandezes of the world and the Yeliches and Ozunas and all those guys that we had here because I expected them to go, and I did not want to be disappointed again. And so I wasn't nearly as surprised or disappointed when they all left. Obviously, we know we don't want to see the tragedy that happened to Jose, and those were just terrible decisions that resulted in just horrific endings for many families, by the way. But this time around, I am getting actually more attached to this pitching staff and to the players, and I'm hoping, and I'm giving Jeter the benefit of the doubt because he doesn't have a track record of being cheap, and Sherman doesn't have a track record. So I'm not going to assume that they're not good, that they're going to be cheap and they're going to trade everything away when it develops. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, at least in this one. But I understand those. That's why there isn't much of a buzz right now, overall. But I think that once we get closer now to football season and training camp goes around, it's gonna. I think the buzz will be back, and the Canes. I think it's going to be great to have the Canes back. Manny's got a big test. He's got to prove to us that he can. there's always a hype to every off season with Manny, and he seems to address the issues that they need. He has the 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 um the transfer portal. He has used it like a magician. He's gotten the coaches that he needs in order to straighten out the staff. I don't know how long he'll keep Lashley, and I think pretty soon he'll be searching for another, offensive coordinator because that's only the inevitable. But he's got to prove at one point that he can make this a championship type of program. And Manny Navarro, who I've had on the show 1,000 times over the years, he has a philosophy that he has mentioned to me several times on our shows. Is that he thinks that if you coach at the University of Miami, you should be a coach that already has proven it and has got a program through messes, or you've built up a potential championship type team or those kind of things. And Manny hasn't proven to do that yet. He's proven to be a good defensive coordinator. He hasn't proven that he can put it all together as a head coach. And the funny part with Manny is he does seem likable. So you would figure that coaches, assistant coaches, players, parents would buy into a guy like this. So where are the results? And now going into year 3, you got to start showing results. You got to start getting it done. Although there's one thing that I will say, that I hope they handle the D'Eriq King situation right, because he's a running quarterback, and he needs his knee more than the average quarterback. That maybe if he's not 100%, but he's a pocket passer, he can stay in the pocket, make his plays, and get rid of the football so he doesn't take extra hits. D'Eriq King will take hits no matter what, because he has to use his legs in order to be effective, because he's not a guy that can sit in the pocket the entire time and beat you. That's not his style. And so unless he becomes a pure pocket passer this off season, I hope they handle it the right way. Unlike, let's just say, how Inter Miami and the coaching staff completely mishandled Robbie Robinson and brought him back way too early and re-injured him twice now. And so they've kind of set him back in a big-time way. And you have to be very careful with certain injuries. Obviously, with a knee injury, you're playing with the kid's future too, because if he thinks or wants or dreams of any NFL prospects, he's going to need that knee to be healthy going into the draft next year. And so you've got to make sure that when you do bring him back, you bring him back that he's 100% overall. Okay? I know you guys are trying to send me stuff, messages, but because I have a cell phone, I am not able to read the messages. They're going by too quickly, so I'm not able to, unfortunately, read any of your messages. So I'm doing a show straight up, just talking. It's hard for me. Let me see. Sounds like no. Guys, the Moss deal. Maybe they had so many issues with the fines and everything else, and they weren't willing to wait for us to build it. You know what I mean? It just, hey, man, people make decisions, and they want to move on, and, what are you going to do? You can't. One thing I don't do is I don't dwell on stuff. Shit happens, and whether you agree or disagree, obviously we've only been around for 7 months, and we were actually only selling sponsorships for 4 months, because you have to build up the audience first in order to sell. And so we were only selling for 4 months, so we never really had any time to build anything yet. We actually did pretty good. We had 1.6 million downloads. So look, sometimes people have patience and sometimes they don't, and maybe they just didn't have the patience to hang in there and want to be a part of something that can be special. You know what I mean? And maybe they just want to focus on soccer. So that's cool. That's fine. Whatever it is, I'm good with it. I'm fine. I'm going to move on. I'm not going to allow any of that kind of stuff to kind of bog me down. I feel bad more for the people around me I feel terrible for Sean. I feel terrible for Alex Dono. I feel horrific, seriously, for guys like Austin Robillard and David Dwork and Kai Chen Chisholm and Alex Aguirre and some of the young guys, and hopefully some of the other young folks that we could have brought on to develop and try to create a local station. And that's why we got some decent prospects coming up now. We got some people that are really, really inspired to be a part of this. And so I'm going to meet with them, and if they can, provide the proper foundation that we need in order to succeed, then I'm going to do it. What I'm not going to do anymore is run my head into the wall and battle a really difficult situation. And I just don't need it, to be honest with you. I got 5 stents in my heart, and a couple things I got to work on. One, losing weight. This whole pandemic thing, I ended up gaining all my weight back, so I got to lose my weight again, which is a freaking yo-yo that I deal with my entire life. Which I know some of you deal with the same crap all the time. And two, I'm going to make sure that the next thing that I do does not put an enormous world of pressure on me that I've got to handle every single thing that's going on, because I cannot do everything by myself. It's really hard to have to carry the weight of the world by yourself. And so hopefully we can keep it going with the right people. If not, I'm going to start the podcast again, and I'll come up with a set time. I got to see where my life goes now, because I have other options that I'm also working on that is not on-side radio. Just in case it doesn't work out, I am working on other options to move in that direction. And kind of excited, by the way, about a specific prospect that I've got going on. Really excited about it, actually, to be honest with you. I don't bullshit you guys. So it all depends. And I think we'll have a lot of clarity over the next week to 10 days on what's going on. But with everything that went on with Inter Miami, hey, man, shit happens. You move on, and you figure out other ways to do things. The beauty is that we can create other options. The beauty is that we made enough of an impact that other people noticed, and they kind of believe in what we need. Listen, South Florida needs an all-sports station that's really dedicated to South Florida sports, and that has a bunch of hosts that are constantly talking South Florida sports all day into the evenings, on weekends. We need it. You know what I mean? And so at one point or another, somebody's going to step up and do it. And I'm hoping that it's somebody local, because nobody on a corporate level gives a shit and is ever going to do something that is really about South Florida sports. They're just going to think about saving money and cutting corners and all kinds of stuff like that. And you know what? I got to stay away from all that stuff already. I can't be a part of the companies that want to cut corners and don't want to support and don't provide what you need. And then they ask you to create miracles, and you don't have the materials to do it. You know what I mean? So those are issues that I've got to avoid from here on out, unfortunately, because I'm just at a point in my life where I don't need the stress anymore. You know what I mean? I need you guys. I love working for you guys. I love doing sports for you guys. I love talking about our teams and having some fun and going back and forth and talking about music and everything else that goes on in the world. I don't have a problem with that. I enjoy doing that. It's the best part of my job, is interacting with all of you out there. But we've got to do it the right way. That's the main. And by the way, if you know somebody or a group of people that you feel can provide that kind of foundation, have them reach out to me, man. Have them reach out to me on DM on Twitter at Big O Show. They can easily contact me. My DMs are open, so anybody can reach out to me. If you know somebody, because we haven't finalized anything with anybody yet, and I am more than open because I want to keep this alive. Okay, we've got a new name for it. We got a new logo for it. We've got the .com for it and everything. It's already locked in. So I already had it set in place. I was going to do it before onside, but I was trying to find the right people to do it with. And then I was hoping that with Moss and company it would work out, but unfortunately it didn't. So now we move on and we try to find the right people. But bitterness and taking shots and all that stuff, it's not worth it, man. It's not worth it. It didn't work out for them. That's fine. We move on and we figure out another thing to do. That's it. It's pretty simple. It's really not that difficult to figure it out. Whether if I tap, so if I tap, I actually see it. I've got a program that I lost 45 pounds in 10 weeks. Oh, wait a minute. Well, I did tap and I saw it for a moment and then it disappeared. It's just hard to do it while I'm driving. You know what I'm saying? It's I can't touch what's going on here while I'm talking to you guys, as it is. But anyway, so we'll figure it out. I've lost weight several times. I know what to do. It's the problem is I know what not to do, and yet I still do it. That's the problem. Okay? That's the real. It's a lack of discipline, folks. That's all it is. It's a lack of discipline, and I have a total lack of discipline when it comes to food. It just is what it is. I could get on a groove and lose the weight and follow a dietary plan and follow a lifestyle plan and it all out and wait. But then I get back off of it again and I start doing all the bad things. And the pandemic was just perfect for that, man. Stuck at home and all you do is eat. You know what I mean? You don't have the same kind of lifestyle. So it's just a matter of eating right, exercising. I've done it many ways. I've done it by fasting. I've done it by exercising. I've done it by incredible discipline and eating the right foods all the time. I've done it many ways. I've lost weight many ways. So I will figure it out again and lose the weight again. Trust me, it'll happen. It's just a pain in the ass, as always, something that I deal with all the freaking time, man. So what are you gonna do? What did I see? We can have a community-funded station. I can relate. I gained 10 pounds now, and I'm walking. I wish it was only 10. I wish it was only 10. 10 would be really sweet to lose because I could lose that quickly. 40, that's a whole different ballgame now. I got to work a lot harder to lose that. Community is nice, but it's when you have the livelihood of several people involved in it, it just becomes that much more difficult to do something like that. And I don't know if I could consistently pull it off where the community is going to support it to that extent. You know what I mean? The next time we have it going on, guys, it's about liking, it's about subscribing, it's about sharing, it's about visiting our sponsors that are incredible. That's really what it's all about. That's the way you really get through, this kind of stuff and build it up. That's the way we support it. I would love for it to be, community based and all that stuff, but it's just not. It's not the way I think we can do it on a long-term basis. Remember, my vision is to actually not have one or two shows. It's have 15 different shows throughout the week. It's not just about Monday through Friday. It's having some program on Saturdays. It's having some program on Sundays. So when you get in the car and you're running your errands on a Saturday, you can listen to us. If you're cleaning your lawn, you can put on your earpieces, whatever it is that you use, and listen to us. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what we really want to do is is create the kind of station that you can go back to on a consistent basis at any time and check it out and get the latest on what happened with the Marlins the day before, or what happened with the Panthers, or what's the latest on the Heat trade and those kind of things. I think it's important that we have the kind of station that the South Florida fan can constantly go to, and that you're constantly talking about. Look, it's all right to talk about Aaron Rodgers not reporting, and what should they do, and talk about the Deshaun Watson mess, and all that kind of stuff, the NBA and everything else going on, and it's cool to talk about all of that, and we want to talk about all of that because obviously those are the big stories. You want to include the big stories, but you want it to rotate around us always. You know what I mean? There you go. I got a Canes wear shirt on. You know what I mean? It's about us. That kind of stuff. So that's kind of what I want to create. And I don't know if community based will actually help you survive. You know what I mean? Because you're almost forcing the public to donate in order to stay alive, and then you're constantly, at least that's kind of what I imagine, you're constantly begging the public to support you. You know what I mean? And that's really hard. It really is hard. Maybe we could come up with a combination of community support and sponsorships and those kind of things. What we were doing on Onside, we were building up to get to 1,000, so you can start to monetize. Because once you get to 1,000, you can start to monetize your videos, and you can start to actually start to produce some money in that sense. You know what I mean? Not the super chat stuff. You do that when you do like personal accounts, like mine, that we used to do the super chatting, and I think we'll probably bring that back very shortly. But anyway, so it's just really tough to run an entire station based on community. You know what I mean? Maybe what we need is a group of people that are behind it and backing it. Maybe that's what we could get. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm trying to figure out now here to try to keep this alive, because we've got a lot of good people that want to keep this thing going. And if I can get the right people, then we can definitely keep it going and kick everybody's ass and give everybody out there the kind of sports station that you guys deserve. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. So I'm hoping we can do that. Let me see. Do I have a community-founded station? Sounds more like putting your station in front of a church or a school. Exactly. Yeah, and it puts too much of a burden on the community in that sense. And I could imagine that if you're not producing and people, times are tough and people aren't able to donate, then there's a lot of people that are on the lurch, and they have no future then. You know what I mean? So it has to be something that's supported the right way. It has to be something that has the right spot, and something that, YouTube and places like that where you can monetize it and you can come up with different revenue streams, because then on the replays, YouTube then slides in their commercials and they pay you for that. So it's not an enormous amount of money, but every little bit helps if you're generating revenue here and there and those kinds. One of the things that I was on the brink of doing with Onside was a store for shirts and hats and those kind of things. And when we start the new one, we're going to start right away with a store also, because that's another way of generating revenue. We have shirts for Toast or for Dono or myself or Kai or Austin Robillard and Red Card, all those kind of things. And you got all these different ways that you can generate revenue. You can come up with it, but you've got to have the support. You got to have the staff behind you that can, do everything. I had nobody to run the website, so basically me running the website. So I got to do a show. I got to do sales. I got to do the promos. I got to write the scripts. I got to run the website. I got to hire the talent. I got to find more talent. I got to hire the producers. I got to find more producers. You know what I'm saying? So you can't put that kind of a burden on a person. and expect everything to be perfect. You've got to have a foundation. I'm smart enough to know that I can't do everything by myself. I just can't. It's impossible to do things all by yourself. You've got to have a group of people that are willing to help you, and then you've got to have a support staff that helps you, get the people that you need in order to do everything, and get this thing done. So the beauty is everything comes with experience. Even in failure, you can learn about what you got to do in order to get it right. And so it doesn't matter what you do in life. I remember going out to the West Coast, and I did a show out there with a group from Sports Byline USA, and we in Americas, and I learned a lot, and that's the beauty of it all. Even when things don't work out, you got to find at least an educational value out of it, and then say, okay, this is what I learned, and this is what I've got to correct for the next time that I do something like this. So you live, you learn. That's the way it goes, and hopefully we'll be able to figure it out and get it done next time. I believe if we get the right partners, we will definitely succeed, because we were headed there already. We were headed there already on the path that we were on. We were generating momentum. Our downloads were going up every single month as a station, and that tells me that if your downloads are going up, there's more traffic. If there's more traffic, there's more listeners. So that's basically, the dominance that we were watching, and it was all trending in the right direction. Hey, man, when you keep getting followers on Twitter and it keeps growing, and when you're getting more subscribers every day on YouTube, it's not like we're blowing up with millions, but it's going up. If it was going down, or if it was, leveling off, then you're not making any progress. But as long as everything was trending upwards, then, you got to keep at it. And listen, to be honest with you, I didn't expect a ton in the first 6 months. I expected more in the second half of the year, which, by the way, we were headed for football season, and so that's why I want to get this back on track, because football season's right around the corner, and this is when it really explodes for radio and everything else, because obviously we're a football town, and we love our football. And Dolphins and the Canes right around the corner, we're pretty much ready to go and take advantage of it. It is what it is. What can I tell you? Let me see if I can see my questions. How come I can't see any of the damn questions? Let's see. No? No? I don't know how to do it. To tap it to see any questions. Let me see. Agree, but UM is well established. Big O should try more of a local small university. Nah, because then you run into the politics. If you do the university, then you can't say shit. If you do the university, then then they will limit you on certain sponsorships and things that they may not want you to tackle. You know what I mean? So I've got to also be careful. Then I'm limited to what I can or cannot say sometimes, and that's not really what we want. We want to have a forum where we're able, even put it this way, even when you're tied to a team, okay, you're going to have some limitations, and we were tied to a team, so you because respectfully you have to have those limitations, obviously, and so you kind of cheat yourself, audience, have those kind of limitations, and you can't be completely honest about something. And so that's what you got to also be careful with. So if you get tied to a certain corporation, you got to watch out for certain things that they may approach you and say, well, we don't want you to address this. We don't want you to talk about this. And if they're footing the bill, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? If they're paying the checks, what are you going to do? So you're going to have to follow certain rules. So I have to be careful in that sense too. I got to make sure that we get a group of individuals that aren't afraid. You know what I'm saying? Not that we do anything crazy. I mean, what do we do? Rip teams on the worst days? What do we do? Say somebody needs to be fired? You know, it's not a big deal. Soccer promising, yes. By the way, yes. We were watching all these young cats, man, Reyes and all these young cats, Westernling and what's it called, Pulisic and all these young dudes that we've got, and obviously the backup made one of the greatest saves of all time for U.S. soccer. That was fun, by the way. That was fun beating Mexico. U.S. soccer, we saw it already that our young guys are developing to the point that they're playing in overseas games or international teams, and they're playing at a high level, and they are contributing and impactful players for their international clubs. So we're already watching the growth of soccer, and it's something that we said for many, many years as a guy that's supported soccer here locally for a long, long time. Listen, when you start getting your better athletes play soccer, when you start getting those kind of players, and I'm not saying that LeBron and Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and those kind of cats have to play soccer, would be nice, but you have to get better athletes, and that's what you're getting now. You're getting better athletes, better players actually playing the sport. It's not guys that are, you know, had to find a way because they couldn't play basketball or baseball, so they settled on soccer, and you know they kind of made a small career, a big career in USL and you know local leagues and those kind of things. No, now we're watching guys that are talented enough to go play in the Bundesliga and the Premiership and the Italian League and all that kind of stuff. And so now we're seeing that because they're at a higher level, when we put them all together, you're getting much better play. And that, it was only a matter of time. But now, it took forever because for 20 to 30 years, those of us have been telling the people that hate soccer, the people that are on the fence or whatever, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Hey, don't you know that more kids play soccer than any other sport in this country? You know, that stat was always out there because Little League soccer is like the number one sport pretty much for kids. And so then, but what happens? We all grow out of it. I mean, when I grew up, yeah, you played some soccer, but you never took it serious enough that you played it at a higher level and a higher level. No. It was a recreation sport is what it was. You played it in PE. Maybe you played it on a college club level, you know, your clubs in college, not the university, but you know your Kappas or whatever the hell you call these clubs nowadays. They all played soccer. That's as far as it went. It was a recreational thing, not anything you took serious, and that was a problem in our country. And so now we got parents and kids that are actually taking it serious, and I think, you know, I think maybe we're also going to an extreme that maybe we're trying to find people that aren't only rich, because that kind of happens with hockey, kind of happens with baseball now, kind of happens with soccer, that all these traveling teams and all that, you need a lot of money, man. Your parents got to have cash for you to play in those kind of tournaments and those kind of leagues, because it's the only way you can afford the fees. It's the only way you can afford the travel. And so it kind of limited your pool on who you were going to get. I think we're also doing a better job of maybe finding guys that aren't necessarily well off, and hopefully we can start to find the best athletes to play soccer. And I think that's what's changed also for us. I think having those kind of having those kind of options, I think has really helped out in a big time way. And now we're watching soccer grow. That hopefully we have some of the best athletes in the world. We excel at almost everything athletically. How the hell are we not going to excel in soccer? Well, Now we're going to excel in soccer. Our system is better. Our coaching is better. Our developmental progress now is much better. So now we're producing better results, and we're smart enough that we're sending our players overseas so they can play at the highest level and become the best players they can possibly be. So when we bring them together, we get what we saw against Mexico, and hopefully that's just a taste and the beginning of it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Whoever brought that up with the soccer question, it just, I can't read everything. Let me see. Can I see any more? There we go. So I got to hit it on the left side. I want a boom boom room at the next station. Okay, you'll get it. You'll get it. We'll get one. 1 meal a day, 2 days of lifting a week, heavy compound movements. What does he have there? And walking for cardio every other day. Okay? Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate all of you always looking out for me, man. You guys are just absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. I will, listen, the voice is back, so I'm good now, which, by the way, I haven't had a drink of water since we started this thing. How long have we been going? 41 minutes. It's pretty good to talk for 41 minutes and not have any material in front of you, right? It's kind of all right. And while you're driving, too. Having a little black water. It's literally black water. Alkaline, all kinds of minerals and stuff. You can buy it at Whole Foods. It's water. It's just a different color. There we go. And yes, it tastes like water, exactly like water. It doesn't taste anything different. It's because it's water. Anyway, weird, right? So, I don't even know what else to say now. I think I'm kind of running out of gas now. I mean, I'm sure if I had material in front of me, I could talk and give it up. By the way, I did not mention this. Are the Tennessee Titans now a Super Bowl contender now that they got Julio Jones? I mean, that's a weapon, bro. Now, the question is, can he stay healthy? And will Derrick Henry run the ball? Because once you stop Derrick Henry, 17 hasn't been able to figure it out yet, right? So it'll be interesting to see now on those games or when they get to the playoffs, when they elevate his team without Derrick Henry, because that's what's happened the last 2 years. So now they added another stud wide receiver to go with A.J. Brown. So that'll be interesting. That was a hell of a move by the Tennessee Titans. The question is, their defense took a monster step back last year, and that was another problem of theirs. So at the end of the season in the playoffs, they did what they did the year before. They stopped Derrick Henry, and they stopped that offense, and Tanny couldn't elevate them. Now the question will be, if that happens with those two receivers, can Tannehill actually take it to the next level now and move the offense when they do stop Derrick Henry? Because that's what they're going to do. They're going to stack the box, and they're still going to force them to beat him. But how do you cover A.J. Brown and Jones? I mean, that's hard to cover, man. That's what I'm excited about with the Dolphin offense, because you've got Fuller on one side, you've got Jalen Waddle at the slot probably, and then you've got Parker and even Preston on the outside, and then you've got two tight ends. That's when you give your quarterback that many options, he's got to be able to find a way to make plays. So the pressure's on Tannehill now. The pressure's on Tua now, because you've given both guys everything they really need in order to succeed. So now it's up to the player to kind of figure this out. So if the Tennessee Titans, if Derrick Henry gets stopped again in the playoffs because they stack the box, the quarterback cannot fail anymore like he has the last 2 years. And just like Tua had all the excuses last year. No practice, no off season. He was the backup, not his offense. He was rehabbing his hip, not playing football. All of these things were against him. Not great weapons. Now everything's catered to him. He's healthy now. He's got all the weapons that he can possibly need. So the excuses are gone. You've got to find a way to get it done now. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. When I saw that trade, I kind of said, well, no more excuses, right? You're given 2 Pro Bowl type receivers. One of them's already a Hall of Famer, right? I mean, Julio Jones is a first ballot Hall of Fame wide receiver already. Doesn't matter. Second he retires, you can put his ass in 5 years later because he's one of the greats of all time, as dominant as it gets. Now, he is very injury prone. And that's the one thing that I would say about this deal that is incredibly risky for the Tennessee Titans is that you're gambling now, and I don't know if you did enough on defense in the first place, and now you added an incredible weapon, but an expensive one, and one that does get injured a lot. And if he doesn't stay healthy, then that becomes a disaster of a move for this team because you gave up a high draft pick and the salary. For me personally, I would not trade for him unless I am a Julio Jones away from a title, and they must feel they are a Julio Jones away from a title. So if Tanny can figure it out, then we'll see. Okay, now I'm hitting it and I don't get. Oh, there we go. Allison Chain song, Man in a Box. Big O, you are driving a lot, especially since gas is almost $3 a gallon. Yeah, I am driving a lot. I'm going to Fort Lauderdale, so I live out deep south. You see, man, there's a lot on the chat board here. You guys are amazing. Gonna miss the onside radio team, Big O and Don in the afternoon. Rosendo. Before you say you're going to miss us, let's make sure we're off. Okay, we're not off yet. We're not we're off at the top for the moment. For the moment we are, but keep your fingers crossed, man. Maybe the right people will step up and want to build a real sports station here in town. The beauty is that we've got to do it this style in the .com. We can't do it with a radio signal anymore. You can't do it on AM or FM anymore because you got to deal with the FCC and you got to deal with corporations that are not interested in doing that. So, Rosendo, I would tell you I miss doing it. I'll tell you that for sure. I miss doing it, and I miss all of you out there, and I miss everybody at the station, but I'm not giving up yet. And so I'm not ready to, as I told 5 Reasons on Twitter the other day, when they were kind of almost like saying our eulogy there, I'm not ready to wave any white flag yet at the moment. Until I see that there isn't a viable partner out there, then I'll tell you, okay, well, we can't do on-site, and I will move on, and the Big O radio show will then continue, unfortunately, we won't do that, but, the funny part is, once I started having trouble with my voice, I ended up eliminating the podcast, and because I physically could not do it. It wasn't the right move for me at that time, and now we realized I had a polyp in my damn throat, so obviously I could not do it. But now that the voice is back, and I'm able to do things that I wasn't able to do before, we're definitely going to bring back the podcast, and we're doing just fine with the podcast. I got to admit, it was going very well, the podcast. Would I rather do the station? Yes, I'd rather do the station because I know our town needs it. Not just our town. Our Dolphin fans, our Heat fans, our Kane fans around the world, our Marlins fans around the world, our Panther fans around the world, our Inter Miami fans around the world. You know, that's really what it's all about, because it's not just the people that live here in South Florida. Okay, it's a lot of it's people all over the world, because I connect with a lot of you. You know, whether you're in California, whether you're in New York, whether you're in Malaysia, whether you're in Portugal, we've got, or Mexico, or Venezuela, or Puerto Rico. We connect with listeners all over the place. That's the beauty of what we do now, and because we do it on YouTube and we do it on the podcasting and all of that, we're able to, connect with a lot of people all over the world. So that's why I always say that it's for the South Florida sports fan around the world. I always say, because I never want to alienate, because we've got a ton of fans that listen to us and watch us and support us and contribute and all of that, and they don't live in South Florida, but they love these teams just as much as we do. They're just not, they had to move for family or for work, or they were never here, but they just hadn't, they grew, to love a certain team locally. Maybe they don't love all the teams. Maybe they only love the Dolphins or only the Heat or whatever, but that's why this is needed, because it's needed because we have South Florida fans all over the world. And I'm very aware of that, unlike most people and most of these corporations that would actually do this. You know what I'm saying? We have come to the end, unfortunately. I have to wrap things up because I am approaching where I am going. And so I have to stop the recording, which 52 minutes is not bad, considering that I pretty much picked it up with no material. I remember talking to somebody, somebody that I was talking about possibly hiring for the station about 2 months ago or something, and he had never really done radio. He'd done some interviews and a little podcasting here and there with other people. It's like with a group of 3, 4, 5 other people. And so I told him, well, I need to hear you do a demo, and I need you to go off for about 25 minutes and talk. And I go, can you give it to me tomorrow? And he goes, well, I got to prepare and all of this. And so screwing around with him, I said to him, I could read an article right now and sit down and do a half hour on it, and just in 5 minutes I can pick up some material and do a half hour. And he took an insult to that. And he goes, come on, man, you're lying. I go, no, I'm not lying, man. I could sit down and talk a half hour with no problem, and about anything at any moment at any time. And so I kind of need to see if you can do that. That's kind of part of radio, is being able to ad lib. And 53 minutes, there you go. And it's not like I had a bunch of material or anything where I prepared or anything like that. I'm in a car. I just turned it on. That's it. I went to Walgreens, got this thing to hold it up, and I just turned it on and started rocking. So it's a strange world, baby. It really is. Are you still the radio broadcast for No, I am not doing that. No. I was only going to do the pre, half, and post and all that stuff with Dono for about a year or two. I was hoping that after this year I would leave it all to Dono, and then I remember what I just said earlier. Okay, you can't do the show, you can't do the broadcast, you can't hire talent, find talent, sales, write all the commercials, write all the promos, find producers, replace producers, set the schedule, handle the website. Get what I mean? So as you grow, you were hoping to alleviate some of that stuff, because you cannot do everything. If you think you can do everything, you're going to get so burned out so quickly, it's not even funny, because you can't do the job of 9 people every single day. It'll wear on you, it'll burn you out, and that's why I'm trying to tell you that we're going to need the right partner. It's got to be done the right way, and so eventually I was doing that to do it, not because some of you that follow me heavily, I think I told you guys, I'm sure I told you guys that when Inter was coming to town, I was not going to work on the broadcast. I did not want. I've done that already. I've worked on Miami FC. I've worked with the Strikers. I've worked with the local teams here for years, doing the PA, doing pre and post. I wanted no part of any of that. I wanted to go into the stands, sit down, watch the games, and enjoy them, and that's it. And that's what I'll do now. Now, when I'll go to a game, I'm going to go to the stands, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to watch the games, and I'm going to leave, and I'm going to enjoy it, and I didn't want to carry the burden of all of that. You know what I mean? So the real plan was never to actually do that long term. It was only as we got it off the ground, and then Donald can take over, and it can be his baby. If you notice, in a lot of elements throughout the pre and the post, it's featuring Dono. It's mostly Dono. I just kind of drove it and all of that because I wanted it to be Dono's baby. You know what I mean? I didn't want to really have anything to do with it. I just was doing it early on to kind of get it off the ground. So I'm actually grateful that I don't have to do that anymore, to be honest with you. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm just kind of tired of that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So no, so I'm actually really happy that part. While I hate that, the onside thing had to end, I am certainly not disappointed about not doing the broadcast anymore because now they will still do the broadcast. I believe they'll keep the guys that I hired. They'll keep Whitty and Rongen and Fiore doing it. So you'll hear it on their app and all that. They just won't have a station per se anymore running it or anything like that. So that's just kind of where it's at. But anyway, y'all, I gotta thank you for tuning in. We did 57 minutes, not bad, pretty good. I will resurrect this thing and do it more often, and we'll do more talk show related stuff on this. I just wanted to keep you guys updated and tell you what's going on. So, because many of you have been reaching out to me on DM or on Twitter or on Instagram and asking what the hell, or LinkedIn, by the way, which I've gotten several messages on LinkedIn also, and I appreciate all of you out there as always. We'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. I'm not concerned at all. Life moves on, man, and I'm not one of those people that sits back and feels sorry for themselves. And all that kind of stuff. I'm a solutions guy. I find a way. I take on the next challenge, and that's it. I move on, and do it with great enthusiasm. So that's it. I just created a LinkedIn myself a couple of days ago. All right, Matt. So connect on LinkedIn. You can find me there on LinkedIn also. I've been there for several years. All right. I love you all out there. I will see you again tomorrow. I will definitely check in tomorrow. I will be in studio. Tomorrow I'll do a little studio work, and we'll actually do like a regular sports talk show. And I don't know how long we'll do it, but probably an hour or 2 hours or something like that, and we'll have some fun. Best to take a risk than regret not taking a risk. Amen to that? Amen to that. I never am shy about a challenge, and I'm not shy about, if it doesn't work out, you move on. You learn from it, and you use it as a building block, So it's all good. Bill is doing good. Bill's got a gig, and he's doing really, really good. He's got stability, which is actually the most important thing right now. That's what he needed at the moment, even though he's not with me, which sucks. And we can't. Maybe down the line he will be, but at the moment, what's important for him is what he's doing right now. And for me, that's what I want for him, is what's more important for him, not what's more important for radio or for our show or anything like that. It's what's best for him. Sometimes the best decisions for people aren't the best decisions for everybody else, but you've got to make the best decision for yourself. And I think that was the best decision for him. I told him, and that's why he's doing it. Not because I told him, but he made the right decision. and that's really what matters, in the end. So appreciate you all. I gotta let you go. It's 60 minutes already. Plus, I'm here where I need to get off. You all be good. I love you. Thank you for supporting us as always.